Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to be talking about 10 crazy fines in NBA. Every league needs a way to regulate themselves, so NBA has their own way, and that is the NBA fines. Sometimes a player can get a fine by just making a joke, or sometimes NBA can punish the entire team and force them to pay a large sum. Let's start with the San Antonio Spurs. In a regular season game back in 2012 versus the Miami Heat, San Antonio Spurs head coach Greg Popovich decided to go with his second unit and not bring his elite players Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Danny Green. The NBA commissioner, David Stern, was not amused and deemed the act as a disservice to the league and fans, and decided to make the Spurs pay $250,000 for not putting the best lineup. Even though resting players is quite normal now, the decision that they made back then was thought to be very controversial. Next player we have is Latrell Sprewell. Everyone knows it's extremely hard to make it into the NBA, so Latrell Sprewell really wanted to stay in it. So much so that he hasn't told his team at the time that he fractured his hand. He said at the time that he fractured his hand during the off-season, but tried to keep it a secret so he doesn't lose a spot in the team. His team at the time, the Knicks, found out and they fined him for $250,000, which remains to be the biggest fine placed by a team on its player. Next one we have is Damon Stoudamire. Damon Stoudamire was a figure everyone looked up to. He was a star point guard for Portland at the time, but after being arrested for marijuana possession 3 times in 2003, the NBA management had to do something, so he was fined $250,000 by the NBA league. On top of that, the Portland organization also suspended its star player and encouraged him to get professional help. Next one we have is Aubrey Mcclendon. Back in 2007, Seattle Supersonics co-owner Aubrey Mcclendon leaked the plan to move the Supersonics franchise from Seattle to Oklahoma. Fans were outraged by the proposal move, but no one was enraged more than the NBA commissioner David Stern. Because of this reason of leaking confidential franchise decisions, he was fined $250,000 penalty for disclosing this crucial information. Next one we have are the Portland Trail Blazers. The NBA is very strict with his rule of not communication between teams and college players. This policy is strictly enforced, but many teams have been getting around it even at this day. But back in 1984, Portland tried to do a sneaky move. They tried to get in touch with Hakeem Olajuwon and Patrick Ewing, who at the time in 1984 were undergrads from Georgetown. The NBA caught them in the act, and because of that they were fined for $250,000, which in that time was way more money. Next one we have is Micky Arison. The Miami owner Micky Arison learned, like all of us, that tweeting can be a bad thing, especially when you publicly call the NBA management a bunch of greedy bastards who made stupid decisions. This all transpired during the 2011 NBA lockout. The league official reminded Arison that team owners and players have limitations as to what they can say and what they can talk about in public, and because of his decision to speak out, they fined him for $250,000. The next name we have on our list is Vladimir Radmanovic. Back in 2007, this LA Lakers forward, Vladimir Radmanovic, was actually slapped with a penalty of $500,000 for snowboarding. Surprisingly, NBA has a rule that prevents players from doing extreme sports. So doing any sport would be fine, but any of the extreme sports, in the NBA's opinion, are a reason to get fined. So he got fined for $500,000. The officials argued that NBA players should not enter into any physical activities that can put their health at a significant risk. Next one we have is the New York Knicks and the Denver Nuggets. On December 16, 2006, the visiting Denver Nuggets were on the verge of humiliating the New York Knicks at their home court when Nuggets J.R. Smith was fouled by Marty Collins. After that, the fight got loose, and even the point guard for the Knicks at the time, Nate Robinson, joined the fight. Because of this fight, all of the players who were on the court were suspended. Each team was fined for $500,000 and 7 players got suspended for a total of 47 games. Next one we have is the legend of fines, aka Mark Cuban. If Mark Cuban has something to say, he will definitely say it, and he is never afraid to say his mind, especially about the referees. And when he vents out, he usually drops multiple F-bombs. Because of this, in one point he was fined for $250,000 on 2 separate occasions. The first one is in 2001 when the Mavericks lost to the Pistons, and the second one came in 2006 after Game 5 of the NBA Finals because of his heated arguments against the officials. And the last ones are the Minnesota Timberwolves for tweaking the salary cap. The salary cap was put in so there was more fair play in the NBA. This was especially the case when acquiring star players. The reason why salary cap was very important because the teams would not have a monopoly over the star players. But in 2000, the Minnesota Timberwolves tried to dodge this rule by making a secret deal with Joe Smith. Smith agreed to accept a contract deemed below his market value with the promise of a multi-million agreement in the future. Because of this, the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to find more talented players and bring them to the team. But the NBA discovered this and slapped the Timberwolves with the most expensive fine in the NBA history of $3.5 million. And also, we gotta say, back in those days, $3.5 million was way more than today. So that's a huge fine. We hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel with post notifications on, and we will see you in the next video. Bye bye.